Hi, we are looking at Chapter 3, Section 1, and to complete this section, I do recommend that you have a lot of different color pens along with you because we're going to end up highlighting many things in this handout. Okay, so as far as our definition for parallel lines go, we are talking about coplanar lines. That is a really important part of this definition. The lines need to be contained by the same plane. Also, I want you to notice that the symbol that's being used looks like two L's. When I type this, and you'll see later on in this handout, I will tend to use two slashes because otherwise it can look like two L's. You can see here the two slashes. Down here, you can see the two slashes. So anyway, keep that in mind. So the first picture of parallel lines would be line FH, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in red, would be parallel to line AB, which would be down here. Okay, so two lines that will never intersect. Skew lines are non-coplanar lines that do not intersect. Again, the important part being that they are non-coplanar. And in the picture, that would be line AH, which will be right here, cutting across the side of the box, and line EC, which would be over here on the right side of the box. When you think of skew lines, I'd say the best thing to do is think of two lines that are across from each other like this X. And they're never going to intersect, but they're also never going to be contained by the same plane. Okay, moving on. Parallel planes, of course, are planes that do not intersect. In this picture, parallel planes would be plane HFA, which would be the left side of the box over here. Plane HFA would be parallel to plane EGC, which could be considered the right side of this box. So those two planes, the left side and the right side of the box, will never intersect with each other. A line is parallel to a plane if the line and the plane do not intersect. So in the picture, we have line FH, the upper side of this box. Hold on, let me slide so you can see the box. Line FH being parallel to plane ABC, which would be down here, the bottom of the box. So of course, the bottom of the box and this upper line will never intersect each other, and therefore those two are considered parallel. Okay, we're moving on to page 2. In the picture, we have a definition for a transversal is a line intersecting two or more coplanar lines in different points. That's the important part of this definition, that it is in different points. Also, we can see in this picture that line T, again highlighted in yellow, is the transversal that's crossing lines M, K, and L. Now, I also want you to keep in mind a common picture that would be not a transversal would be something like this guy. Where these lines are crossing each other, and yes, you could say this line T crosses these other two lines, but it's not crossing them at different points. It's crossing them at a single point, so T would be not a transversal in that picture. Also, when a transversal crosses two lines, it breaks the plane up into distinct regions. So take a look here. You don't have the color version, you probably have shades of gray, but the two lines, line K and line M, with again transversal T cutting across them, has this upper area, which would be considered exterior because it's not between the two lines, the interior, which is the area between the two lines, and then the exterior, again, outside of that region that's containing the two lines. So if we take a look at the picture at the bottom of the page, we can see the exterior angles would be angles 1, 2, 7, and 8. So again, that would be these guys out here. and these guys out here in the exterior. And then the interior angles would be the angles that are located 3, 4, 5, and 6 between the two lines. Ooh, that's a really dark highlighter. But anyway, that's the interior and the exterior angles. Okay, moving on to page 3. Okay, on page 3, we start to talk about the special angles. And these are the angles that are created when you have two lines, like here, K and M, being crossed by transversal T. So again, I'll make the transversal yellow. In the picture, angle 3 and angle 6 would be considered alternate interior angles. So the interior part is the idea that they are in this interior region. The alternating part is that they alternate sides of the transversal. So here's angle 3, here's angle 6. Those two are a pair of alternate interior angles. We also have their angle 4 and angle 5 also qualify as alternate interior angles. And again, I've made those orange so they look kind of pink, but we can see that those are alternate interior angles. When you're looking for alternate interior angles, you want to look for a Z shape. When you do that, the bar on the Z is your transversal, and I will go ahead and write that, transversal. And then the top and the bottom of the Z are the two lines that are being crossed by the transversal. Your alternate interior angles fall in the crux of the angle. So your alternate interior angles would be here and here. Okay, so the other second special angle pairs are same side interior angles. So again, in the picture, our same side interior angles would be angle 3 and angle 5. And again, notice they're interior, they're in the space between the two lines. Same side because they're on the same side of the transversal. Both angle 3 and angle 5 are on the left side of the transversal. Angle 4 and angle 6 are on the right side of the transversal. So when you're looking for same side interior angles, you want to look for a C shape. When you do have that C shape, this part of the C is your transversal. And then the top and the bottom of the C are the two lines that are being crossed by the transversal. And your same side interior angles will be in the crux of the C. Okay, do keep in mind that the C doesn't have to face to the right like a normal C. The C could be facing to the left, it could be facing up, it could be facing down. It just depends on the picture that you're looking at. The same is true for the Z. This would be a forward facing Z like for angle 3 and angle 6 up in our picture. Scrolling back in. But it could also be a backward Z, could be facing up, looking more like an N, or it could be the other way. So again, though, you're looking for that zigzag shape for alternate interiors, and you're looking for the C for same side interiors. Our third type of special angle is called corresponding angles. And they're called corresponding angles because, again, when you have your two lines being crossed by a transversal, you'll notice that angle 1, which is up here, angle 1 is in the upper left location of this group of 4, and angle 5 is also in the upper left location of that group of 4. Angle 2 is in the upper right, and angle 6 is also in the upper right. Angle 3 is in the lower left. Angle 7 is in the lower left. And then the last pair, angle 4 and angle 8, are both in the lower right position of their group of 4. So we call those corresponding angles. When you're looking for a corresponding angles, the shape you want to look for is an F. And when you have your F, The bar of the F is acting as your transversal. The arms of the F are the two lines that are being crossed by the transversal, and then your corresponding angles fall in the crooks of the F. Remember also again that F can be facing to the right, or this would be your left. That F could be laying down. It just depends again on where the transversal is and where the lines are. Okay, we're moving on to page 4. On page 4, you'll find your last pair of special angles. They're called alternate exterior angles. And I don't particularly care for these, but your book uses them. They're not necessary. The ones on page 3 are considered the basics. This is just an extra set. So alternating in the sense that it's going to alternate sides of the transversal, and exterior because we're talking about outside angles. So angle 1 is an alternate exterior angle with angle 8. Angle 2 is an alternate exterior angle with angle 7. So those would be your two alternate exterior angles. Okay, we're moving on to page 5. Okay, on page 5, our first example is asking us to name the two lines in the transversal that form each pair of angles. So when I look at angle 5 and angle 6 in the picture, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to do a little outline of angle 5, and I'm going to do a little outline of angle 6. And at that point, I can see that those two angles are sharing this line right here, and therefore that's my transversal, which would be line BF. And then I can see that the two sides that are not being shared are BC and this side, which is part of line HG. So that would be my answer for that one, line BC and line HG. Okay, so take a look at angle 7 and angle 8, do the same, and also by the way, any idea what type of angles angle 5 and angle 6 are? That's right, they're corresponding angles. Okay, so try to do the second part of this and we'll be right back with the answers. Okay, so angle 7 and angle 8, you can see them outlined here in orange. Can you see the Z shape that those two angles form? So those are alternate interior angles. Also, we can see our transversal is line CG, and the two lines forming the angles are line BC and line HG. Okay, moving on to the next example. Okay, we're going to do the last, start the next one, and then I'm just going to go ahead and write down the answers for you. So if you take a look, the first one, STU and SZX, I've placed in pink, and we're deciding what type of special angles they are. And if you take a look and you turn your paper, can you see the F happening here? F, if you recall, has to do with corresponding angles. So that's what those guys are, corresponding angles. For the second example, I have those two angles. Oh, pardon me, I did the third one. I have those two angles outlined in yellow, UTZ and VZY. And if you look again, you can see that F happening in yellow, and therefore those are also corresponding angles. Okay, we are running out of time. So I am going to go ahead and stop the video and get our answers written in. You should try them on your own. Okay, here are the answers to the last example on page 5. Be sure to ask in class if you're not sure how to do these. The remainder of the examples, the last set of examples, will be done in class. Have a great day.